If you've searched online for information about sharpening hand tools recently, you will have come across his Royal Canadian ubiquity, Rob Cosman. So after purchasing a second-hand plane, I thought to myself, can I, with my inexperience and complete inability to follow instructions, get my blades as sharp as he promises? If I can just butt in from the future, the attraction of the Cosman method is that after a one-time preparation on each blade, repeated sharpenings are very, very fast. And the reason for that is that we employ multiple micro bevels to ensure that we are only grinding away the very absolute tip of the cutting edge of the blade. Now, I haven't got together all of the gear yet, but we've got enough to make a start. We've got the Trend Diamond 300-1000, the Shapton 16000, and some Honrite. Now, when I bought my second-hand plane, the blade was in quite a state, so I've spent a little while before filming re-establishing the primary bevel, and I did that by making a DIY grinding guide. The first thing we're told we need to do is to knock off some of the high bits of grit on the 300 side of the Trend Diamond stone. We use that for flattening the Shapton 16000 from time to time, and if it's brand new, little bits of grit can scar and become embedded in it, which is apparently not very good. So the way to do that is to just take the back of the blade and work this for a couple of minutes. That should be enough. Now we need to take the Shapton glass side up to just get the height right and grind into the back of the cap iron using the 300. Until we get a perfect line all the way across. And it doesn't go all the way across, so I've got to put a bit more effort into it.
I did the same thing on my small Stanley block plane, but you don't need to see that in detail.
Now we do the same thing with the chip breaker, only this time we use the blade as the platform to elevate the end because we want a negative angle on the bit that we file to the bottom of the chip breaker. The final one-step prep is to put a steel rule along the side of the 1000 stone and put a micro bevel on the underside, that is the flat side, of the blade. And instantly we can see we've got a bit of a problem. I'm getting a very, very strong
learning in action
slant on this, which means there's a twist in the blade. You also just saw me cut my finger. I'm going to try flattening it a bit. Well, after much percussive adjustment and a lot of grinding and sanding and whatnot, the flatness of this is a lot better, far from perfect, but the benefit of Cosman's method is you really only care about that bit there where the ruler is and that bit there where the stone is. So let's see if I can do a better one-time prep of the back of this blade. Oh dear, I cut myself again. What the hell? Cosman's videos ought to come with a health warning, I reckon. This is the micro bevel at 1000. I'm going to polish that with 16000. After all these one-time preps, the only use for the 300 is to level the 16000. Trust me, it looks about the same. So that's the one-time prep done on this very troublesome collector's cutting iron.
And again for the small block plane.
If you cut yourself, these stones will preserve the evidence until they wear away. Modern plane irons are really thick, which makes this method very easy, because there is a big long bevel so that when you put it on the stone you can just tilt it and you can feel where it is. These thin ones are a lot harder. Cosman also recommends that you do this at a much lower level, so maybe I'll eventually go on to do it here. But for the moment, what I think I'm going to do is bring back my grinding guide to just help me get the angle right for this next trick. I reckon I'll be able to find the primary bevel. So we put on the primary bevel, we raise it up by about 3 or 4 degrees, and we do little circles for 10 seconds, grinding in a secondary bevel. We check to see whether we've got a burr, and we have. Then we switch to the 16,000. Find the primary bevel, and this time raise it up 5 or 6 degrees, so further than before. Once again, little circles for 10 seconds. Have we got a burr all the way around? Yes, we have. To remove that burr, we just do exactly what we did before with the steel rule, this time just for 3 seconds. Wipe it dry. We should be good to go. The setting up of this collectible plane is not the subject of this video, so I'll repeat that process on the block plane. Of course, I bet you guys want a prover, even if I'm not going to be shaving wood. See if the light works. Yep, it's doing the job. So we've discovered I can't plane end grain to save my life, but I can hardly blame the tool. It's doing a really good job. Now, what about chisels? I'm going to have to wait a few days because we need another stone in between this one, and it hasn't turned up yet. Well, it's a week later. My fingers are fine, thanks. Unfortunately, the gear we require to get started on the chisels has not yet arrived.
TLDR, it turns out that wooden filing guide I made was the wrong angle, so I get to do it all over again.
That is actually sharper than it was before, so that's a result.
Bonus content.
Bonus content is my beloved spokeshave. Now, this blade probably needs to be treated like a plane, except we've got a problem. The steel rule trick isn't going to get the deburring angle right because this thing is too short. Oh, whatever shall we do, children? Well, first we'll just polish the flat side of it and make sure it's all good. Should I? Let's clean up That abysmal work on 1000. Okay, good enough. Now comes the problem. As I mentioned, this is not going to work. It's 1mm thick, and to get the correct angle for that micro bevel, I would have to rest it against, and it's not going to. We interrupt this broadcast for the barbershop snippet audio meme you didn't know you absolutely needed. This is, of course,
The most useful saw in the world.
so what I reckon I'll do is the blade from this Irwin pull saw, which is 0.5 of a millimetre, and if I use that, I reckon that's going to give us the correct angle. I'm happy with that. One time prep done. Primary bevel plus primary bevel a little bit more. Now lay down that saw blade. 1, 2, 3 to remove the bevel. Yep, no surprises there.